There is a new update in Gina Carano, the Gina Carano wrongful termination lawsuit against Disney. And although she hasn't won the lawsuit in and of itself, she has had a small win. Because if you remember, we talked about Disney filing to dismiss her claims altogether. And I was worried because, you know, I looked into the judge. It's a California judge. You know, she's probably a lib. But she did actually rule in favor of Gina Carano's lawsuit and said she could have good reason to sue. So at Wednesday's hearing, a judge expressed skepticism that the Carano's lawsuit could be tossed before discovery is allowed to take place. She said, "I'm not convinced there are no disputed facts," in response to Disney's filing for dismissal. And this is obviously all revolving around the wrongful termination of The Mandalorian. And I was just giving this some thought today. Like, I didn't even know there was news about Gina Carano, but the fact that Alec Baldwin, let me say this carefully because we're on a live stream. Many people believe Alec Baldwin committed a premeditated murder on a Hollywood set.
Yeah.
And he is currently getting tons of opportunities and work, and his friends didn't drop him. Nobody denounced him. You know, everyone believed him at his word when he said that, you know, this was just a mistake. And he's got a new reality TV show about his family coming out before he's even on trial for manslaughter.
Yeah. He's manifesting a not guilty verdict.
You see this for Alec Baldwin, this outcome for Alec Baldwin, who is in the fold. And then you see that Gina Carano was treated like subhuman trash for putting freaking beep bop boop in her Twitter bio.
I mean, having the wrong opinions is worse in Hollywood than anything else.
It just makes me short circuit in anger. Like how, that's funny that I said that after beep bop boop. But it, you know, there are so many other examples. There's a litany of examples of so many celebrities that have fucked up big time compared to what Gina Carano did. She didn't even do anything. And what she did or said wasn't even on set or while working. It was for her own personal social media on her personal time, which is what her lawyers were emphasizing. Her lawyer said, "Nothing she said on the show or on set is being contested. It is all things that they saw on her personal profiles that they took issue with." And they say that may not matter, at least according to Disney. They claim that there are broad liberties afforded to private speakers and what viewpoints they choose and don't choose to express. In a case dealing with free speech rights, the Supreme Court held that organizers of a parade had a constitutional right not to include in the event a group seeking to express a message they didn't want to convey. The organizer's decision to exclude a message it didn't like fell within its right as a private speaker to shape its expression by speaking on one subject by remaining silent.
Yeah. So
there's this precedent that Disney feels it can use to justify coming after her for what she said on her personal accounts, rather than while she's doing, for instance, doing a press interview for The Mandalorian or, you know, posting something on an official account.
And everyone already
or a red
knows,
carpet interview.
And everyone already knows that this is not equally enforced amongst them. It has everything to do with what her actual opinions are and not to do with necessarily the press. Because if that was true, then they would be talking about Pedro Pascal and the very many, you know, list of social media posts that would have been considered incendiary to other people. So it's never evenly enforced. It's funny because if you were playing by their playbook, you should make it about, you know, being sexism, right? Like,
well, they are actually. If you read through this lawsuit, guys, you will see that part of the claims are that this was gender-based discrimination. And if I had to guess, I don't think Gina Carano genuinely believes that. But it's, you know, you got to play by their rules if you want to win. You got to play dirty sometimes. And I mean, we know as well as she does that that's not really the heart of what's going on. It's political discrimination. 420 Funny sent a $20 super chat. Regarding your poll, I'm not fat. I'm in my bulking era. It's been 5 years.
5 years of bulking. Okay.
Just let us know when that cutting season is coming up.
Yeah.
Good luck with that, bro. But Disney argued there's a First Amendment right for them to choose employees who properly convey their values, even when those choices would otherwise violate state anti-discrimination laws. And they listed a couple of cases that were related to this. Disney said the state can't force employers to engage in expressive activity. In Disney's case, movies and TV shows that convey its message through speakers like Gina Carano, who allegedly impair its ability to properly express its values, which it said include respect, integrity, and inclusion. The First Amendment claims, they claim, entitles it to protect Disney's speech in the Star Wars series from association with views that it and many viewers consider offensive and contrary to its message. They said the messenger is part of the message. Imagine if she made comments that she hates Jews or that there was no Holocaust. And they actually act like Gina Carano said those things. They're saying that she has views that dehumanize and degrade groups of people.
And the media is complicit in weaponizing this by never actually posting what she said, which no reasonable person could ever conclude to mean what they say it does. Meaning that she said, we don't like pulling it up. It was essentially the post that said, prior to the Holocaust, what happened, it didn't just happen in a vacuum, that people were dehumanized before it ever even happened. And that's what led to that level of persecution of another group of people, which was never aimed at any one person and should never be interpreted as anything antagonistic.
Well, they decided to interpret it as antagonistic because everyone's assumptions about what that implied for our contemporary political and social climate influenced how she was seen. That's not something she could ever have controlled.
Correct.
And anyone should know that's how social media works. You post something, you cannot control how people interpret it. You can't control what people think it's actually about. If you
actually one of the most
tweet something, they're like, "Oh, I see that you're subtweeting this person," or "I see you're trying to hide this," or whatever. They'll assume your intentions regardless.
It's one of the worst parts about social media is that you are bound to be misinterpreted, or the wrong thing is going to be focused on by at least one person on anything that you post, right? Another thing that's interesting to note is that Disney just dropped its federal appeal against Ron DeSantis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
I didn't hear
Disney
about that.
dropped its appeal on Thursday in its First Amendment lawsuit against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, officially ending the 2-year battle sparked by the company's opposition to the so-called Don't Say Gay law. Of course, we know that that's not what it was. The Parental Rights and Education Bill. Not the same thing, but
And in Pride Month.
Politicians are going to politic. This move came after a state board approved a new 15-year development agreement, which will allow Disney to invest $17 billion to expand its Florida theme park. I was told that they were going to leave Florida, that they were going to pull out, not invest more money there.
Well, it's like all those people who said, "I'm moving to Canada if Trump wins."
Exactly. So it says Walt Disney World is inextricably entwined in the fabric of the state of Florida, and the success of Walt Disney World is the success of Central Florida and vice versa, said Brian August Jr., a member of the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District at the meeting on Wednesday. This agreement provides a lasting, sustainable, and prosperous future for the district and for the people of the state of Florida and for the Walt Disney Company. So they're going to continue to work together, even if they don't agree with each other on any of that stuff.
For the sake of revenue.
For the sake of making some money.
Money can always bring people together.
It really can. It really. Oh, look, and the sad thing is for the most part, I have no problem with that. That's capitalism,
I don't necessarily have a problem with it either.
So.
But that's a good development in favor of Carano, and thankfully, unlike Kevin Spacey, she's not going to end up buried in legal fees because Elon is funding the whole thing.
Got that meme of like the person being pulled up from the water by the hand.
Yeah.
Do that. And she's on a media blitz. Like she's doing multiple appearances right now. She was just on with Russell Brand. That's available on Rumble. So it's very interesting. We'll have to see where it goes. Disney's got their own stuff to worry about this weekend. So Inside Out 2 comes out this weekend, and looks like it's projecting to make at least a little bit of money. I don't know if it's going to make as much money as they would have hoped, but
Not
it's
as much as the first.
It's getting fairly good reviews, and I think one of the things that I always point out is like, look, as mad as everyone is at these companies, people don't want to stay mad, and they're willing to give you the benefit of the doubt if you give them a reason to. And if you do enough good movies in a row, people might be willing to welcome you back. I don't think that's happening for Disney anytime soon. I think it would take a lot of really, really good faith efforts and a lot of really, really good movies in a row for that to ever happen. But the first day to start is now, so maybe you should get going.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.